Moves in motion. Fake to him. O'Connell looking. Throws to the back. It is caught. There for the touchdown. Sometimes it's fun. And in the Raiders locker room, it's time to dance. And there are probably 100 cigars sitting in there somewhere.
Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Put on Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, along with myself, because Ryan Holmes went to the game. And when he gets back, we'll do a full recap of the ball game. But the Raiders win 16-12. Of course, we're podcasting on the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Thank you for all those people who are watching and listening in Fresno, California, Germany, and also Fort Lauderdale, Florida, as well, too, are watching and listening to the Put on Raiders podcast here. You know, when Al Davis kind of set forward and said the term "just win, baby," it's catchy. And it obviously stands the test of time. The Raiders have not won a lot, so we understand that part of it kind of looks silly to some people because they haven't won a lot. So when they start winning, it always feels good to say "just win, baby." But I think because Al Davis was a New Yorker who came to the West Coast and was like he was one of those guys who just wasn't really here for the bullshit. And I think the thing that really "just when baby" takes away is the bullshit. It's a no excuse way of talking about the National Football League, a no excuse way of talking about winning in the National Football League. And I think that's what you're seeing here with Antonio Pierce and these Raiders who beat the Jets 16-12 on Sunday Night Football in front of the whole nation, is the fact that you're not seeing or hearing about ancillary bullshit. You're not hearing about like, hey, so-and-so didn't play. I mean, I was really concerned about Colton Miller not playing, and they found a way to overcome. They just won. 2 fumbles by Josh Jacobs. They just won. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, no matter what's around you, no matter it's a no excuse, no BS statement that just says, like, no matter, overcome all things because you need to just win the game. And I think that's really cool that they actually were able to come back. I mean, kind of come back, a little bit come back and win this game. The Jets had opportunities to kind of put their stake to claim a victory in this game, and but they weren't able to do it. And I think that this team just drove and drove and drove and just drove themselves to victory here, and was all 3 phases of the game. I think that's the one thing that's really satisfying, is that it's all 3 phases of the game. And I think Bo Hargrew did a really good job of calling plays in this game, and just did a creative job of getting Josh Jacobs the ball, getting Devontae Adams the ball. Like, what these players want is to get the ball and be a part of a winning organization. It wasn't happening with the previous McDaniels and Ziegler. It's happening now. And I think, if people want him to stay, if people want him to be a guy who is going to be here for a long period of time, I think they have to just keep winning games. I'm not sure how many games I'll just check and see how many games left. But I think if he's already 2-0, if he can get to 3. I mean, if you get to split the next 2, then that's 3-1, and the roller coaster could just keep going on and on. So we'll see. We'll see where this Antonio Brown RWA Raiders, if you will take themselves, and we'll see what happens here. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is really about. I've said it before. It's just win, baby. Is more to me about this whole thing where you win because you're tougher, you're stronger, you keep going longer than the other team, and you're confident, but you're not like ridiculously cocky like Robert Saleh. Like Robert Saleh, I don't know what he's drinking out there in New York. I mean, the water in Jersey can be a little funny. I'm not sure why he was kind of so confident in this game where it was just he felt like it was just a matter of time before his Jets defense. He should spend a little bit more time worrying about the Jets offense and then worry about the Jets defense in this ball game. But let's talk about the offense real quick. And I thought Josh Jacobs, obviously he talked about wanting to build the team around Josh Jacobs, and there was a story during the game, and this is why Josh McDaniels is a horrible head coach. This is why Josh McDaniels is a moron. This is just why Josh McDaniels is not a smart guy. Like the fact that he never communicated with Josh Jacobs on what runs he likes the best. Like just that common sense to say, hey, what runs do you like the best? The guy is a perennial Pro Bowl, running back, one of the best running backs in football, one of the most versatile running backs in football. He's made himself into a really good pass catcher as well. So to not sit there and they were talking, Chris Collins was talking about the sheet he gets now where, hey, what run plays you like the best? And three of those run plays that he discussed were in the game plan. Like that's that's player empowerment. That's being heard. That's being understood. And when you don't get that and you just say, hey, just run this, run that, like because I said so, because I know better, because I'm the head coach. Like this isn't like you're not coaching little kids. You're coaching grown men who know what works and what doesn't work. And you're seeing Josh Jacobs do a lot of things that do work. And that was a really cool, the cool little tidbit that the Sunday Night Crew had. I think he said it's the first time he got those plays since the Raiders had John Gruden as their head coach. So, a running game was, I mean, 4.3 or 4.3 a carry. I think the fumbles were a little bit like, you don't want it to happen. He may or may not have been down on the second one. The first one went out of bounds, but they ran the ball. They ran the ball well, and they needed they're gonna get a lot of attempts to run the football because of the quarterback situation, and because it's just it's what the head coach wants. The head coach wants to be physical as hell. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and I think that's part of the. You look at some of the teams in the National Football League who have been successful right now, it's teams who run the football because everybody wants to hurry up and get to second and third down so they can start defending the pass. All these teams are geared up to stop the pass. They just are. They just are. That's why the Lions are just saying, hey, that's fine. We'll get you Gibbs. We'll give you Montgomery, and we'll keep running the damn football right at you. So if the Raiders can just keep running the football, I'm still a little worried. I mean, I'm still worried about, having to face a game possibly without Josh Jacobs because he runs so hard, runs so violently. Got fined for that, I guess, violent run against the against the Giants, which was ridiculous as far as that goes. But I really do. I love the way he's being involved. And I think, they're getting him outside. They got him in motion, like on a college play. Like I'm seeing plays from this offensive coordinator that I see on Saturdays, and that means he's paying attention to what's going on around all of football and what may work in a play here, a play there against a really good defense, as New York was in this game. And I think, I mean, New York really did a decent job for this entire game. They got enough stops, just the offense couldn't do anything. On the defensive side of the ball, and I also thought it was very important to get Devontae involved. They were able to get Devontae involved, 6 catches, 86 yards. And they also were able to get Michael Mayer for his first touchdown, which I'm going to hear about because somebody on this podcast predicted that he had get his first touchdown. I'm not sure who that guy was, but so they're able to do that and get him the ball. And it was one of those plays where you guys got to give these great athletes an opportunity. These guys are great. I mean, like he is a great athlete. Like he's not just like some lumbering guy who can't make plays. He can catch the ball over his head. He can run people over. He can run by you too. Like he's very, very agile for a player. So it's not like he's some kind of stiff tight end. So and I love my favorite thing about Michael Mayer is he has the ability to catch the ball away from his body. He's not a body catcher. Guy's a good player. So the offense, got things going. I mean, the almost the fake we want to call it the fake quarterback sneak, little handoffs to DeAndre Carter, um almost on like almost like a little half jet sweep play or whatever. I mean, that was a really nice play call, nice little wrinkle. They were successful earlier in the game on the quarterback sneak, so they come with that same formation and do something a little different. So I mean, the Raiders have done a good job on offense and on offense. I mean, the best you can do, these quarterbacks around the National Football League, these high-powered offense, when they go against the Jets, they have not played well. So you got to give the Raiders as much credit as as you possibly can as far as that goes. Defensively, they just kept them in the game. I don't know how much they can survive playing 12 yards off all these receivers. Like, I mean, like, so we'll see. Like next 2 weeks is gonna be Tua and then Tua and then Mahomes. So we'll see what transpires during that time period. But you just take the wins. You take the wins. When you play, if you can go 500 against the really good quarterbacks and just beat up and just keep beating the bad quarterbacks, because there's a lot of bad quarterbacks in the National Football League, you'll be good to go. Spillane comes through with a huge pick, in this ball game. So that was really a pivotal point in the game. You kind of felt like, and to me, like when you don't challenge the end zone, like when you have bad quarterback play or you have inexperienced quarterback play, you don't challenge the end zone. And I think that's why the play from O'Connell to Mayer was so nice, because I mean, yes, challenge the end zone. You're in the red zone. You got to challenge the end zone. Excuse me, they didn't challenge the end zone on that play. They ended up getting a pick six because they're going to be driving on anything short. They know who they're. That's what you want to see from the Raider defense. All the short stuff, just drive on it. Like, don't just sit and let somebody catch a pass, 3rd and 5 for 7 yards. Like, drive on those short passes. And Spillane did a good job of reading the quarterback's eyes and driving on the football. Good job by Patrick Graham. Kuntz made came around the corner, came around the edge like he was Lance Johnstone. Um, and created a strip sack. The Raiders were not fortunate enough to recover that, but still a big play there. So, you know, it, the Jets running backs didn't go nuts in this game. Like you just want to keep them. I think in the National Football League too, like if you just keep the team, I mean, they probably could have rushed Brees Hall a little bit more. I mean, it's not, no, that's not, sorry, Brees Hall didn't really do much at all rushing the football. Only had 13 carries on 28 yards. I think he was more dangerous in the pass game. I think Garrett, I mean, so like that was tough to see as far as that goes. See here. And then you also had leading rusher in the game was Zach Wilson. You'll take that. If you're the Raiders, I mean, you'll definitely take him being the leading rusher any day of the week as far as that goes. Special teams wise, I just want to kind of just shout out special teams because I felt like, again, it's an underrated part of football and nobody really talks about it. I think some of these coaches talk about, maybe the people forget about the foot in football, and I thought that was really cool. It's always a cool statement that I always remember, that people always forget the foot in football. DeAndre Carter on kickoffs. Excuse me, on punt returns was really really special. And I think that long kickoff return was really nice. It really kind of set the team up. He had a couple of good returns in this game, and good shout out to the Raiders special teams for not. We always see good returns, right? But we didn't see the holding penalty that followed. We didn't see all those little things like that always bog down a good return and say holding, bring it back, whatever. Um, those things were that was that those were like really cool to see them actually have the wherewithal to not grab and hold. Let the play develop. Get off a block, get off of it. Don't hold. Don't bring this good return back. And those plays really set up the offense. The offense needed every yard they could possibly get in order to compete with this team. And they put the pressure on the Jets. Put the pressure on the Jets when they had those short fields. So good job by the Raiders. Good job by the Raiders there. It would have been nice. I mean, if Jacobs doesn't fumble on that second one, they could have really kind of put themselves in some distance there as well too. So that would have been nice, but oh well. They still found a way to just win, and that's really all that really all that matters. But when we do our next show, we're gonna kind of dive a little bit more deeper into it. I wanted to make sure I kind of got everybody out here and then talked about the victory because it's the fourth straight home victory for the Raiders, and the Raiders just might actually have a home field advantage. Like I mean that's a weird thing to say that the Raiders actually have a home field advantage. Like you don't people talk about the minute that they seems like it might be a situation where the Raiders might have an opposing team come in and get some schedule and get some and get some fans in there. Everybody says, "Oh my God, they should have moved. They should have left Vegas." But when that place is rocking, and Ryan can definitely give us a report about how well that team, how well the Raider fans showed up there. There wasn't much green in it. It wasn't much green on watching that thing on TV. So and from what he was talking about and the pictures he was sending, it wasn't much green in that stadium. So you want to take games into a 3 game window, you can. They do have the Dolphins up next. They have the Chiefs, a week 13 bye, and then you have 2 weeks to get ready for one opponent, which is the Minnesota Vikings, who are a really good football team and a head coach who I really have a lot of respect for. And they're doing a great job with Josh Dobbs at quarterback. So you got to watch out there. But one game at a time. Tua is up next. The Raiders usually this game is a 10 a.m. game, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You know what the Dolphins are going to do. They're going to make the Raiders wear the black jerseys. They're going to give them the sideline that has all the sun. They're going to do all the things to try to make the Raiders uncomfortable in that crazy humidity that Miami can have. But for the Raiders, they need to just do what? Just win. And that's it. And that's it. So I want to say one thing real quick before I go to is like, so he's 2-0. Antonio Pierce, the Raiders are 2-0 under Antonio Pierce. He probably would say the Raiders are 2-0 under Antonio Pierce. So I would say I would say that too as well. So if I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 games left for the Raiders. He's already 2-0. So in 7 games left, in the comments, let me know how many victories you feel like he needs to keep the job and take away the interim and be the head coach of the Raiders in the future. So in the comments, let me know what you think about that. And let you know. I think if he can get to out of 7 games, if I can get to, let's be conservative here. If I got the 3, that's 5 wins. Yeah, 5 wins. If he gets 4 out of if he gets 4 out of that, that gives him 6 wins. I mean, if he gets 4 more victories, I think for sure. I think for sure they made the playoffs. He's not doing that. Besides, he's not doing that. Versace thing one more time. He's definitely gonna hire this guy as a head coach. So we'll see what happens. All right, Raider Nation. Ryan Holmes will be back and we'll break everything down. I definitely want to hear about the atmosphere at Allegiant for this ball game. So it was a fun game watching, fun game interacting with you guys on the Twitter app and through DMs and everything like that. Keep supporting the show. We definitely appreciate it. T-shirts. Like we have them. So we have them ready for you. We have the Student Body Right USC podcast t-shirts, and we also have the Put On Raiders t-shirts as well. So definitely check us out for those, and drop a comment. You can follow me on Twitter and drop a DM what size, and I'll let you know how much we're selling them for as well too. So a portion of those are going to go to kids sports and getting athletic programs up in underprivileged areas. So definitely support the show, and we'll end up supporting that. All right, Red Nation. Another victory. And like I said, I know the matchup doesn't look great on paper when they go to Miami, but who's to say that they don't win another close game against another close game against a quality opponent, against a good defense. Vic Fangio's defense is really good. We'll break all that down this week for you on the Put on Raiders podcast. All right, Raider Nation.